Hello. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you very much. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to you girls to the first edition of She Runs, the Active Girls Lead, the first international school event to promote girls' health, emancipation, but also leadership through school sport. My name is Sandy Heribert, and I'll be your master of ceremony this morning. I'm a TV sports journalist, and it actually makes sense for me to be here with you this morning because every day I have to fight against the mentalities, of course, in my job. You know, sports journalism is kind of like mostly a boys thing, and usually a girl does not know how to talk about sports. But I can tell you that we do, and we're more and more in this field. And every day we have to change mentalities, and we are good at it. So maybe some of you in this room might be a sports journalist one day, and I will be glad to give you a bit of my experience if you need anything. We'll start in a few minutes our TED Talk with very inspiring women that I've had the pleasure to meet this morning, and they have lots to tell you about their experiences, and they have messages for you this morning. We are very blessed to have you all gathered today. You are 500 girls from 33 countries. You made it here to Paris, and I was there yesterday, and you really enjoyed the day. Did you like it yesterday? No. You were screaming much better yesterday. Did you like it yesterday? You did great. 3 kilometers around Paris, and I hope that you enjoyed the scenery. So, as I was saying, we really feel privileged to have you today, and we hope that you will appreciate our speakers. And I'm taking this opportunity to also thank the partners. Without them, nothing could have been possible. So, the European Commission and also Vinyl Plus, our partners. And it's been a long road to make this vision come true. And before we start our talk, I would like to welcome on stage the ISF president, Mr. Laurent Petrinka. Welcome, Laurent. They're all yours. The stage is yours. See you later.
No question? Usually you ask me a question. So
Really? That was yesterday.
No, just joking. So I will use my best French accent, dear Laurence, dear Paula, dear Valentina, dear Christina, to greet everybody and to explain maybe the genesis of this project. I'd already talked too much, so I used to say that we institutional people, we speak too much, so I will be very short, and I will let the floor very soon to our model. We are very convinced in ISF that we must do better for sport, but also better for a social sport. And one of the main missions, of course, is to fill the gap between different kind of approach and difficulty. And for sure, women and sport has been for a long time a subject in ISF. But I must admit, we were talking in the backstage about that. We must admit, that it took some time in ISF to consider this matter seriously. That is why, with all the energy, and you can count on the energy of all the staff of ISF and all the board members that are here, we managed to build a program for you, not only doing sport, but also building a real strategy of impacting inside your country the subject of women and sport. And the program that has been built, and I think, again, all the team, is really based on this, not only doing, you did yesterday, it was wonderful, but also having skills, being convinced. And today is very important because we ask for role models, and I thank you again for your presence. Different model, different people, different paths, different experience, different way also to convince the people, so you will be inspired by them, and they will demonstrate by the fact that it is really possible to be involved and using sport to do much more better. And why the subject of sport, I think, is more useful than other subject to make the line move, because sport is touching the body and touching the emotion. And touching the body, it's touching the freedom. Freedom of women. It is a problem in the world. They are not free. They are suffering. They are oppressed. They are harassed. Not always, but most of the time it is the case. So touching the body is touching the freedom. Also touching the emotion, of course. As soon as we touch the subject of the body, it goes deeply to the emotion. And the experience that will be explained today touch to the subject of the emotion. That is why sport, finally, I think really deeply, sport is the best way to fight against discrimination and to talk about the subject of women empowerment. So you can count on us to support you. I was talking yesterday to some girls of you in different countries. They need some support. So our goal is to help you, to support you, and be convinced that the International School Sport Federation will be always convinced and helping in the development of this wonderful cause that women and sport and empowerment. So having fun with our model. Again, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much for those words of welcome. Thank you very much, Laurent, fighting for this cause. I know it's not easy. Our first guest this morning is a woman that does not fear the cold. She's a multiple national champion and 2 times figure skating Olympian. After her first impressive career as a single figure skater, she's here to tell you how an encounter led her to change disciplines. She will tell you how she unlearned and relearned everything, overcame her fears, and ended up in the 2018 Winter Olympics. Please help me to welcome on stage Valentina Marchei.
Good morning, everyone. So, this is not what I get used to. I'm quite a little bit out of my comfort zone right now because for my sport, I got used to speak with movements, to ice skate, to tell a story, using my emotions and not speaking. So please be nice to me because that's quite a challenge for me today. It's my first ever challenge in front of all these people. There's no Olympics that would ever prepare me for this. This is totally different. So my biggest change in my life, it was when I was 28, when I had to relearn what I loved about skating, what I loved about my passion. And the first memory that I have of me ice skating, it's when I was 7. It was a cold winter in Milan where I was born and raised with my parents and my best friend. Her name was Valentina as much as me, 2 very different girls. 1 hour in a public session in an ice rink in Milan where for an hour she didn't leave the boards. She was literally like, I don't want to go, I'm afraid to fall. And I was just fearless in the middle of it, drifting and skating with no problem in the world. And I remember this feeling on my face of closing my eyes and feeling the wind getting through my face. And that is something that even if I think about it now, I have shivers. Because that's the real first memory, and that's the purest thing about my passion. I'm coming from a sport family, meaning that my dad did 2 Olympic Games in marathon in the 80s, so a while ago. But he never really pushed us, me and my brothers, to be those champions. He never really pushed us to go and win medals or to be on top of the podium, or sport is more important than anything else. He always taught us to trust in ourselves and to commit in something, because sport would be a school of life for us. In fact, for 20 years, I traveled the world. I met people from around the world. I learned languages without even studying them, just speaking with other people. Because I was skating in the US, because I was skating in Russia, in Latvia, in France, and all around the world, with a group of people that they became the closest friend I have now. They became friendships for life because we were sharing a dream all together. Everyone with a different goal, but everyone with the same commitment. 20 years of a discipline like single skating where you have to be your own motivation, where you have to fight for yourself. Like you fall, you stand up, you fall many times, many times. Let's say that I wasn't born as the super most talented figure skater. I didn't even start with figure skating. I wanted to be a gymnast, but I was really not for it. The coach was putting me in front of the line just because I was selling even what I wasn't able to do. If everybody was with the ball from the right, all the pictures are with me on the left, but I was smiling with my 32 teeth that everybody in the back looked wrong. So that's what I was. My super talent that I have now, it was always because I had a lot of passion and I was always an hard worker. So being a single skater for 20 years meant that I went through 2 missed qualifications at the Olympics. I tried to qualify in 2006, but they chose somebody that was more experienced and older. That Olympic game, I watched it on TV, crying. Like, honestly, it was really a disaster for me in my heart. And I said, like, how are people gonna, like, what are people gonna think about me that I missed it? But, you know, thinking about it now, I wasn't ready at all. I was just a fearless 19-year-old that she would throw herself in the middle of the stage, not even knowing how to own it. Then after that, for other 4 years, I worked so hard to qualify for the Olympic Games of 2010. And guess what? I missed them too. I missed the qualification again. But this time, the television hired me to be a commentator for them. And that opened like a total different door in my future, because there I understood that I wasn't doing anything for the glory of being at the Olympic Games, but I really loved skating, because after that missed qualification, I wanted to skate even more. Watching them owning the stage and owning like every movement made me understand that maybe that's not my ultimate goal. Maybe that's not what I'm meant to do. So I started to see my skating career in a different way and started to enjoy even more, because I was looking for something different. I was skating with my heart. It wasn't anymore my feet skating. I started to be myself in that stage. I started to even choose music that would fit me, not the music that everybody would like to watch or the judges would like to watch. Because, you know, like, one thing is skating for yourself, and another thing is that when in competition you have 9 people that judge you. So most of the times the problem is that you do it for somebody else and not for yourself. So those 4 years around the world, again, because the preparation for the Olympics in 2014 was in between New York, Moscow, Daugavpils, which is in Latvia, and finally Detroit. That's when I learned to be a woman first, and then an athlete. And I got to the 2014 Olympics where finally I qualified. It looked like a joke almost for the national team, because I remember that when we stepped into the Olympic Village, they were like, "She made it!" Yeah, but I dreamt about that moment for 8 years, that my beginning position in the 2014 Olympics wasn't even in the middle of the rink where the 5 rings were. I really went to look for them. I stepped into it and put myself in position, owning it. And I did it so many times in my head that it came out exactly perfect as I imagined it. It was just one of the best experience I've ever experienced. Plus, I got to live like the Olympic experience in a way that I could stay the 3 weeks there, and I could really enjoy the Olympic values. I met people. I was eating with people. I was sharing the bikes with people because this Olympic village was really, really big in Sochi. And we didn't have buses to go to venues, but we could use bikes. So sometimes there were not enough bikes. So you would bike with like people from Finland and with people from like Russia, from all over the world. It was really like a party of sport. So when I walked into the opening ceremony, I said, oh, maybe I want to do another one. When I walked in the closing ceremony, I said, maybe other two. But then I was already 28 because it took me so long to get to that point in the way I wanted that for my sport, I was an oldie. I was like already a grandma. So I got back home that it was just like, yeah, I really want to do it, but would my body keep up with me? Because my head is keeping up with me, but I don't know if my body is ready for it. And also, should I just stop? Because, running for another Olympics, what if I don't make it again? No. So nothing. I was like living in the US. I got back home because I wanted to stay a little bit home, and I left to go to camp with my Italian coach at that time. And that's when I had the most important encounter of my life. I met Andre. Andre is not my boyfriend. Andre is not my brother. Andre wasn't even a close friend. Andre was in the national team with me. He did the Olympic Games with me, the ones in Sochi, but he was doing another discipline, pair skating. So meaning that he was throwing girls and hopefully catching them too. But so I knew Andre, but again, we were not two different disciplines. We were both part of the team event at the Olympics where brought us on the 4th place. 4th place twice at the Olympics, guys. Well, that's another thing. But no, meaning that that was the biggest, like, for me it was gold. Because 8 years before, I didn't even know if I would be out in that stage. And then all of a sudden, I'm so close to the podium that I tell them, I'm more happy than you that you are on top. Because what brought me here was like totally, I don't even know how do I get here. But anyway, so we shared something very important together, but we had nothing connected. Andre was like, after the Olympics, quit skating. And he was like the assistant of my coach. That's how actually I got to know him better, because he was teaching me. But Andre was teaching me, like skating beside me, and he's one of those sportsmen that never really wanted to quit. So it was like lifting little girls and lifting, doing like coming to the gym with us and do stuff like this. And he asked me, like, can I lift you just because you are the heaviest one? Thank you. But so I was like, yes, let's try. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, so I'm a single skater. We can sell each other as a single skater in shows, and as a pair skater. Like this, we make more money. So that's my future. Perfect. Teach me something, we do this. But the problem is that the first time he pulled me up, or he threw me, that old feeling of like flying, the speed, the wind over my face, all came back. It was just something that it was tattooed in my heart, and it was telling me, wait, this is something I know already, but in my heart, but technically, I don't know how to do it. Switching to pairs, meaning like you are first sharing the stage with another person. Hello, I was all about myself there and then getting all the applauses, and then all in a sudden I have to share with you something. I don't know if I'm able to do it. And second, like if your axe when you jump by yourself is this one, then he throws you and it's this one. And you have to understand that for somebody that is afraid of heights like me, it wasn't the best feeling ever. But since we started to learn, and it was like kind of going so fast, and I was learning very fast, then this idea in my mind was just like, you know, like I almost like it more to do in pairs than in single. Maybe we should try to do competitions. What? Are you crazy? I mean, we are 28 and 30, and nobody ever did it. Switching from, I mean, they switched, but like when you are young, you're still like 15, 16, when you have like your body is full power. And all in a sudden, 28 and 30 doing a competition, what? Like, no, we cannot do this. But I had something inside that was telling me, Valentina, you have to try. So when I say that my dad was a really important role in my life, it's because the first person I went to, I was like my dad. And I said, Dad, I really feel I can do this, that I can change discipline. It doesn't matter if nobody ever did it. I want to do that. He was like, for how much I agree on the fact that nobody did it and your body and you guys are old, where do you want to go? What, are you going for another Olympics? You're going to be like, what, 32? Like, are you sure? But I see that fire in your eyes that it tells me that, yeah, do it. I cannot say no. Go and do it. So there was this thing of convincing everyone. I actually could convince just my coach and Andre to do this crazy journey. We couldn't convince yet the federation, so no money at the beginning. Of course, our fans were so like thrilled by the fact that, oh my God, where do they want to go? Like seriously? In the national team, but they were calling us grandma and grandpa. And so social media were crashing us down. That the first competition that we actually did pretty good. So we did the minimum score to qualify for Europeans and Worlds. There were like underneath our YouTube video, 298 bad comments about like, look at them, where do they want to go? Are you sure? Ha ha ha. And then there was like one comment that was like, oh my God, guys, this could work, that we wrote underneath. Are you sure? Are you crazy? You're the only one. No. Like we prefer when everybody hates us. So we had everyone against, everyone. But in 5 months, we won nationals. In 6 months, we were 4th at Europeans. And crazy, because the year before, I was 4th as a single skater. And in 3 years, we were at the Olympics. And I was the first one ever to do 2 Olympic Games in 2 different disciplines. Think about it, in 2008, and fun fact, he didn't live in a good way his first Olympic Games. So he wasn't really cherishing to like this Olympic situation. Oh yeah, I was saying, let's go to the Olympics, let's try to qualify. And he was like, yeah, but it's one competition like the other. And I was just like, what? No. So I promised myself, I went to the Olympics promising myself that I would change his mind about what was the Olympic experience. Because I changed it so much about myself, about compromising with myself, about like trusting him, about sharing a journey. You put yourself so naked in front of a person that is not your boyfriend, that is not your brother, that is no one, and you carry his dream and he carries yours, that I could not made him live the best experience of his life. And I remember this moment, few days before the competition. We were doing an Olympic camp in Korea. Olympics were in Korea last February. We were in Seoul, and we were still not in the Olympic Village. And this practice was very hard because we were with parachutes running around the ice rink. And my coach at the end of the training said, okay, this is it. In 2 days we compete. This was the last practice. We just hugged, didn't say a word. And everything went through of this journey in our mind. He looked at me and said, let's just have fun and make this happen. Because we are ready, we own it, and I'll just let your motivation and your fire up my heart and my experience. We look at our coach, she was crying, and she never cries, you know, like how older people get it all together. And she was just, that moment we understood it was our moment. And that was really our moment. Because not only we had the best skate of our life, of our career, but this shout, when I was walking into the closing ceremony, was projected in the entire arena, on our feet, and on all the screens, as one of the moments of the Olympic Games. There, I could die, guys. There I said, okay, I did, I dared, and I succeeded when nobody believed in it. And you don't need anyone except for yourself. So I allowed myself to read you something I wrote. Because I came here to tell you to dare, because if you feel something in your heart, and if you feel to accomplish something, you don't have to let the fear of the failure or doubts block you. You don't have to let people block you, because most of the times you're gonna realize that the limits are just in the eyes of the people around you, not yours. Exactly not yours. There will always be obstacles. There will always be the jealous ones. There will always be the negative ones. But just keep rocking and go in the direction of your dreams. Because challenges will make you the warriors that you will become. I always dreamt big. Sometimes as big that I couldn't even imagine it. Because I couldn't picture it. I couldn't picture this. And if you dare to, leave room in your heart for the unimaginable. Because that is gonna make you break your limits. But also discover and surprise yourself with something you never thought you could do. And if I did it, you all can. I'm no different from all of you. So, crave to learn and be better. Surround yourself with positive. And if you are missing it, go look for it. Ask help. Because most of the times, if not always, teamwork is the key. Each one of you has in your hands the power to shape your day daily and your future. And you can be whatever you want. But you have to work hard for it. And you have to believe in it. Go look for your superpower. We're not born with superpowers, but we can look for it. Then practice it, train it, and then own it. Own it with confidence. And remind one thing yourself, that sometimes the hard work doesn't pay you off in the way you think it's gonna pay, like with a medal, or a podium finish, or an award. It's the journey that brought you where you'll be standing at the end. This journey will shape you into the best version of the warrior you could ever be. So dare to dream. Thank you.
Valentina Marchei, please, round of applause. It was. This is for you. Wow! Rising.
Thank you.
Nice. I think that the challenge is succeeded. Big success.
Thank you. Don't make me cry.
Thank you for her, and thank you for you for sharing
Thank
this
you.
incredible story.
Well, it's easier with like, I picture myself being there, so I wish
You
to
were
be there and listen
15
to it.
again?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
that was
soon.
all very focused. Like no one was talking, and your story is so inspiring for all of you and all of us also. And as you said, dream big, work hard. I have a question though. You know, when you missed the two Olympics, the two qualifications for the Olympics, where and how do you find the strength and the motivation to come back? Why don't you just, you're like, just, you know, you say it's a dream, but where do you find this? How do you come back?
Well, I was also lucky because I had good guides around me. A very strong family, and we are all very attached, but also good coaches. And then I always was like I'm very competitive.
Stubborn?
So,
A bit stubborn? Is that
Yeah.
Italian style?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So at that point, I had to succeed. I had to go up there.
Yeah.
I had to find a way. I
No way
always
you were going to find something else to
no,
do.
but like I never wanted to sit onto excuses. I always found solution, and I think that was the key. So seeking for, if there's a mountain and you cannot climb it because you are not able, just build a tunnel or go around. It's gonna take you like more time, but still, I always go through that. And of course, but sometimes, you know, you have to touch the ground. And actually, I'm pretty good on touching the ground. That's it's the only.
easier to jump
It's easier,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the only way I know to come back. And sometimes, even when I'm in midway, you know, like small and little defeat, I just go and sit down and then stand up because from there I know how to.
You
But-
might not have this career if you hadn't had those failures, really.
Of course, I think so. But also, I think that everything happens for a reason, and my journey starts here. Like, it's really not about. It wasn't really about the medals for me. It was a journey through myself, and it shaped me into a woman first, a sport, and then into an athlete. And also, having the relationship with a guy that you are obliged to see 7 to 8 hours a day. God.
Did you fight?
We did, like, in a way that 30-year-olds fight. But we also had a communication coach that helped us to move faster. So just to not point to the finger, because there's no one better from each other. We are a team. So if we go down together. If we go up, we are together. So there's not one better than the other one. And that was another thing, because I remember that the first time that we had to go on competition, it was just like, wait, but now, like, I really have to share it with you. And I was crying and being like, I used to be the star, and now we are 2 stars. And he told me, you know.
But that was your strength, and you didn't know that
Yeah.
at the time.
And I discovered parts of myself that I didn't have that now are coming out. So I'm really grateful, because he doesn't know, but of course he made me one of the best pair skaters out there. But he made me like even the best version of myself as a woman. But he doesn't know that. He probably like knows that, but I remind him every day. Not every day, but sort of. But he really changed me. He really changed me, because I had to deal with Valentina, and Andre. And it's a lot of thinking.
Yeah, I guess so.
But got him into my bubble helped me to know better myself.
Yeah. You told us about your history and your past, but what's your future for now?
I think it's this.
Teaching?
Well,
Passing?
I think it's time for me to
message?
give back something.
Yeah.
To give back what my journey brought me and gave me, what my experience, what this 25 years of skating gave me. It would be a waste to keep it all for me. And yeah.
So that's day one of sharing your experience?
Yeah,
maybe?
I wish I could light up the fire of someone because I have so much energy that I wish I could give it to each one of you.
I'm sure you have, right? Yes. Thank you very much,
Thank
Valentina,
you.
for sharing this
Thank
with
you.
us this morning.
Thank
Round
you,
of applause
girls.
again for Valentina, please. Let's now welcome our second speaker on stage, Finnish supporter of grassroots sports. She's former president of the European non-governmental sports organization. She was one of the driving forces to push the European Commission to prioritize gender equality as a sports policy topic. In 2017, she won the IOC Women and Sport Awards World Trophy for her tireless and long-standing efforts to promote gender equality in sport and society. She's here today to tell you how you can take some leadership positions into sports tomorrow. Please help me to welcome on stage Birgitta Kervinen.
What a fantastic moment. I feel so privileged and so honored to be in front of you. This beautiful city, Paris, the most energetic event for a long, long time for me, she runs Active Girls Lead. Fantastic. Give, please, applause to you. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. Today, you are an important part of my journey. As we already heard during the first Valentina's excellent speech, fantastic. So, sport can tell stories. Individuals can tell stories. Its wordless message touches, awakens feelings, and unites. It produces inspiring people. It tells us it's a phenomenon that serves as role models, examples to young people and children. I remember when I got my first skis and my first medal. I tried track and field that time, and my father, he wanted me to have the best skis in the neighborhood. It meant also to be active in your own sport club. My sport club is by name Leppävaaran Sisu. It's close to Helsinki. And there I tried and learned many things. Athletics, skiing, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and gymnastics. The sport club activities taught me a lot. And that's why this journey is not only about me. It's about my fellow sisters. It's also about my own daughter. I was born, here you can see me, guess who I am? I was born after the Second World War to a very poor family, working class family. My parents were poor, construction workers. Poverty and employment were realities in my parental home. Many social problems influenced our lives. And of course, it influenced on me too. I couldn't focus. I felt unsure, often abandoned. I was gifted, but I didn't recognize that. As I said earlier, I thank my father, who encouraged me into sports, and my teachers and instructors. And that's why I feel so important that school sport can give so much. It was my physical education teachers who gave me the opportunity to learn sport. They supported me, encouraged me. And what was the result of that? My modest success was enough to awaken my ambition to be better in school and in sport. And that's changed my life. I understood that sport belongs to everybody. As I told, I have been active in sport since I was 4 years old. I have worked at all the levels of sport, from bottom up to the top. I had a national career in basket and athletics, and believe it or not, I even played in the national team basketball. But my dream was not to become a star on the field of sport. My dream was to become a good leader. As I told, I grew up in my own sport club, as instructor, as board member, as vice chair. Very early I understood that rules for men and women are different, especially in the leadership position. I was not satisfied with my position, but pushed on. To keep me silent, men often elected me vice president. I am a master of vice talks in the world of sport, believe or not. I have given so much vice talks. And I think that they have been better than the talks of some presidents. From that commenced a journey at the national level, and then in 1998, the game changer was when I was elected chair of the European Women and Sport. As I took over the presidency from Madame Maria Iliopoulos 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, and participated the same year in the second IWG conference in Windhoek, Namibia, I quoted Martin Luther King, one of my role models. And what did Martin Luther King say? I quoted him, "I also have a dream. I dream that sometime in the future, all girls and boys, men and women, shall have equal opportunities to participate in sport. Moreover, we must be given equal rights to make decisions concerning sport." This is not only my dream, it's our dream to provide better, healthier, and more equal society in all aspects. Leadership has to be fair. That's why girls and women have been the driving force for me for a long time. I know from experiences that together we are stronger. I understood that I must be active. It's the key word, to be active. Everything starts at the national level and personal level. That was the story also from Valentina. It starts from personal level. 1994, there was signed so-called Brighton Declaration. which is the cornerstone for the worldwide equality work. And it tells to me today, even today, that before me, there have been female fighters who have done so much, that we all can sit here and enjoy the results. So then we can ask, how did Birgitta, close to 70 years old, who could not even dream of a better life, of a university education or traveling, become an international sport leader recognized by IOC? I used to say when I got the award that it's a story about when nobody became somebody. And when the big and great athletes are telling here about their gold medals, it was the moment I got my gold medal for my work. My journey to the top has taken more than 50 years. And why I am staying here to tell to you that don't be so stupid to do 50 years work and wait for your gold medal. You have to reach it much earlier, much earlier. And that's the reason I am staying here today, to tell that it's possible. It's absolutely possible to do that. But we have to change the culture of leadership. And I understood that I cannot give up. There is some deeper meaning for my work. And today here in Paris, I know it. I know it. To tell the story and give hope that you can do it better. You don't need to use 50 years for your career. But anyway, that position gave me a lot of possibilities. I used to say that you have to be heard and you have to be seen. If you are in an international conference and you are asking for the floor, don't stay sitting, raise you up and let people see you and hear you if you have something to say, and you have. I served first as a vice president of ENGSO from 2001 to 2007, and then I was elected for 2 years, 2 times periods for 4 years as ENGSO president. And I used that position to bring forward women's voice, girls' voice. Of course, there were a lot of other things I had to do. ENGSO, European Non-Governmental Sport Organization, is a sport political body. But I used to demonstrate women's issue. The most important role for me, of course, has been to be a mother. My daughter Petra is here in the picture, half years old. It's taking 1981. She is now 38 years old. Beautiful, beautiful young lady. I tried to be a role model for her, but you know, mothers and daughters, it's sometimes very, very challenging. It's very challenging. And she has been my best teacher. She has told me that, mother, you shouldn't do like that. You shouldn't do like that. And even when I started to present my thoughts in English, as you told, I have never really studied any languages. I have spoken with people. So she said to me, you are doing so many mistakes, mother, in your language. Yeah, but if people understand what I mean, is that enough? Yes, she agreed. But I also know that together we have faced challenges and been frustrated about how slowly the change is happening. Together we have worked years and years that the goal related to equality would be reached in the sporting world. Sport is important for individual. It's a question of personal achievement, personal advancement and self-realization. Sport is also a part of democratic society. And that's something we do not remember always very well. In a democratic society, decisions should be made in a democratic way. The cooperation with political decision makers is for great importance. And that's why you are doing your own career. But think about the leadership positions. You have a lot of possibilities to influence. Each of us can play a role. This picture is taken from Botswana last year, and there we paid a visit in a children's garden, and I loved these children. And when I compared their life to my life, I understood how happy I am. So each of you have a role to play. Then some pictures, what was the level when I was ENGSO president where I worked? It was the European Union. Here you can see Madam Androula Vasiliou. Next to me, a great sport political leader. During her leadership, there was announced the first gender equality action plan for the political decision makers. Here is some picture from Council of Europe with some Finnish ladies and Minister Snežana Marković, and from Serbia, she has also done excellent work. Then the field, one of the places where I had to represent the organization, it meant ENGSO, was the EU Parliament. And I always spoke for the grassroots sport, women's rights, youth sport, volunteerism, and sport club. As said, in 2018, I was in Botswana. There were more than 1,000 participants. And the African continent made excellent impression on me. I had to give a speech by title, Welcome and Power All Through Sport. And I asked how to do that, how to make it happen. I believe in you, younger generation. Men and women have the power to make great change if you can use and if they can use their ideas and act. I believe in cooperation between both sexes. Courage is needed to happen. It happened. And IOC plays an important role in this, how to say, very, very challenging environment. I am pleased that IOC is taking a step forward with the Agenda 2020 and equality recommendations. Concrete actions matter. In November, as I told, I was awarded 2017 by the IOC, and I was able to highlight some of the important aspects of my journey. One is the mentoring system. I got $50,000 US from IOC as award, and I was thinking how to use this money. I could use that, of course, to organize a big women's party. But what then? What after that party? Nothing. So we built up an educational project. Equality is not only women's issue, it's an issue of humankind. I have had the privilege to work with young and talented men and women. They have inspired me. They have opened my mind towards new ideas. I have been their mentor, and in return, they have mentored me. So, here you can see a picture of new leaders. They have been selected from all the European countries. There are 30 of them from 25 countries. My own personal commitment is to change into share my knowledge, networks, and experience. I feel like it's my time to give back to the young ones. It's my time for you, it's your time to take the leading role. Why? Because when we win this battle, sport and society wins. And it benefits us all. The theme of this conference states, "She runs, active girls lead." Who is your mentoring champion? Could you think about that you could yourself be a mentoring champion? My goal is that no new leader is left without support from a champion. Ethical and equal leadership includes knowledge sharing. To achieve results, we need commitment, political support, as well as resources from national sport organizations and governments. I have heard and I have seen, I have experienced how females have been treated in the sporting world, but believe we have reached the tipping point. You can see it in the Me Too and Time is Up campaigns. To good governance, we need great leaders, not good leaders, but great leaders. Great leaders understand that they give the voice to people, and every single decision should be made having in mind that people are the core in structures. Yes, one can create change, but many people can create movement and set standards for the new normal. Make equality normality. Yeah, here you can see also some pictures of the new leaders at the moment working. Then I would like to share few words from one of my role models. She is the former president of Republic of Finland, Mrs. Tarja Halonen. After 10 male presidents, she was the first one. She talked in the 7th IWG conference about human rights in the global concept. Everyone has the right to play. For too long, persons with disabilities have been marginalized and denied basic rights that most of the population takes for granted. I ask you, could you play some role in this and help your sisters and brothers? Dream, speak up, create tomorrow's culture, sport culture today, be a leader and lead the change. Use your full potential. Here you can see new leaders, the whole picture of them, and I would like to see some of you or everybody building up your own generation of new leaders. Keep in touch, build a sisterhood, and feel the possibilities and power of your life. Thank you so much for your attention.
Please, a round of applause for Birgitta Kervinen.
Thank you.
And they're rising again for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was very inspiring. And thank you for your fight in the gender equality, everything you're doing for those girls and for those boys also. Fortunately, we're running a little bit late. I have thousands of questions for you, but what would be, if we had only one question, what would be your biggest dream, if you could dream of anything for those girls here in the room?
That you can find your own way. That you, at the crucial moment when you are feeling alone, you can find somebody who supports you. I have felt so 1,000 times loneliness, afraid. I was afraid to come in front of people to speak and to deliver my thoughts. But there was always somebody who said, "You will do it excellently. Don't be afraid." And that's the way you can support each other. Support female leadership and share the feelings and power.
Stronger together. Thank you very much, Brigitta.
Thank you.
See you later. Now, let's welcome our third speaker on stage. She is a Chicago Marathon winner, a 3-time winner of the London Marathon, and a 3-time New York Marathon champion. She represented Great Britain at the Olympics in 4 consecutive games. Her running has earned her a number of prizes, including the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, the IAAF World Athlete of the Year, and a member of the Order of the British Empire. In 2010, she was inducted into the England Athletics Hall of Fame. She is the fastest female marathoner of all times and has held the women's world marathon record in a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes and 25 seconds since 2003. She's here today to tell us how sport shaped and changed her life forever. Please help me welcome on stage Paula Radcliffe.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here with you all today. You're just starting out on your journey and you have your whole lives ahead of you. And I think from everybody this morning, you're going to hear a recurring theme. And that's have a think about what you want to do with your life. Look inside yourself and find the thing, whether it's sport, whatever direction it is, that lights a fire, that lights a passion, that you really feel strongly about, that you love doing, and go with that. Dream with it. Because when you love doing something, you're going to invest so much more into it. The journey, all of the hard work that Valentina talked about, is so much easier when you have a passion behind what you're doing. So when you start out, think, what do I really want? Where do I really want to go? Because that is what's going to shape your future. It's setting that goal. If I think back to something that my first coach said to me when I was 11 years old, aim for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And for me, that was something really special. That was a license to dream, to think, where's my moon? Where do I want to go to? Because we may never get to that moon. Most people don't. That dream goal way up there is something that we do to stretch ourselves. Because if you don't stretch, if you don't try, you will never find out what you're capable of achieving. So think about your moon. Think about where you want to go and how hard you're prepared to reach to try and get there. And if you don't get there, you're still going to land amongst the stars. You're still going to achieve a lot more than you would ever do if you never try. So that's why it's important to set that goal. And he really made me think about that. And I used to write down goals in my training diary for the year ahead. Goals as a person and goals as an athlete. Dream goals and realistic goals. And really work towards those. Because something else that I learned is that our greatest success is not in never falling down. It's picking yourself up again each time that you fall. And often through what the world thinks is a failure is actually something that we learn far more from. We become stronger people and we learn more about ourselves and more about the world around us. The team is something very, very important for us all. And it can be the sporting team, or it can be the life team, your family, your friends, people who will help you, people who will shape you and give you that advice, be there for you, but you must also be there for them in turn. In our team, we had a mantra, and the mantra was no limits. That we don't put limits on what we're trying to achieve. We don't aim in a race to run a certain time. We just try and run faster than we have done before. Because what happens if you're up on your dream, if you're up on your target, you're not going to slow down. You're not going to stop. You're going to keep reaching to find out what you're capable of doing. Someone who is a really, really important member of my team was my grandma. Sorry, I have a cold. So my grandma was born in 1917, and she weighed then only 1.5 kilos. People didn't think that she would live. She lived until she was 94, and she came to 3 Olympic Games to watch me compete, but mostly what she taught me was if you want something in life, you go after it. You work hard, and you try and make it happen, and you won't do it in a straight line. Every time that you hit an obstacle, you have to find another way to work around it. Work around it and try and find a different way, and just keep trying. Keep on persevering. And above all, respect the rules. Respect the other people and respect yourself. Be true to yourself through all of that. And she said to me one thing that I try and pass on to my children now. Every once in a while, take a step outside of your life and look back in from the outside. And make sure that you're happy with the person you are and the way that you're living your life. And if not, change it. So this photo, for me, epitomizes perseverance. It's from the World Cross Country in 2001. When I was 18, I went to the World Cross Country as a junior in 1992. And one of my dream goals that year was to get a medal at the World Cross Country Championships. I went, and it snowed the day before, and I love running in the snow. And I managed to win the World Cross Country as a junior in 1992. Immediately, I made it a goal to come back one day and win as a senior. And it took me 9 years. To this day, in 2001, when finally, after a lot of seconds, thirds, fourths, and fifths, I managed to win the World Cross Country. And that's what it meant to me. And that meant that much to me because of the perseverance, but also because I had won in a sprint finish. And a lot of people said I couldn't sprint. It wasn't really a sprint because it was really muddy and really windy. But it counted for me. And that was why it was so important. But another thing I learned that day was how important it is to trust your instincts. In sport, we talk about the days when you're really in the zone. When everything happens by instinct, by magic, you know what you need to do to win the race, to have the best result. You know exactly what you must do. And it doesn't happen very often. It didn't happen the day I set the world record, but it happened this day. I woke up, and it was like I'd already done it. I knew what I needed to do, but I was really calm. And I knew the moves that I should make within the race to be able to win it. But still, when it happened and I crossed the line, it was a huge surprise. And I was really, really happy because it meant that I could move on to my next target. And that target, for me, was the marathon. Because in life, we don't stay ahead by standing still. You have to change. You have to innovate. You have to move. And you have to keep working hard. And the marathon was a dream that I'd had since I was about 11 years old, when I had gone down to watch my dad taking part in the London Marathon. And as I was standing by the side of the road, waiting for him to come past, I saw a lady called Ingrid Christensen from Norway run by. And she was in the middle of all the elite men. And she was running fast. And she was setting a world record that day. And I was just in awe of how strong she was, how powerful she was, how fast she was running. And I wanted one day to feel that strong, to feel that good running in a race. Later on, I was lucky enough that I was able to meet her. And she gave me a lot of advice before I tackled my first marathon. Because the marathon for me is really unique. It's against your body, it's against the 42 kilometers, it's against the other people, and it's against your mind. But it's also a whole community. It brings together people in sport in such a way that is very strong and very powerful. Whether you're in the middle of the pack or whether you're at the front of the pack, everybody feels that. But the marathon is also a bit like life. There are ups and downs within the race. And you don't get through the downs without the hard work that you've put in and without the team around you and the belief that you will get back to the feeling good parts. One thing, sorry, can I get some water, please? This one's just, thank you. So one thing that I used to do when I was competing was read a lot. And at one time, I read about this analogy in a book, and it was an analogy that was really important to me, that in life, we all juggle 5 balls, 5 really important balls, and they're health, family, friends, integrity, and career. They're all really important. We can't succeed without all of those in the air and in play, but there's one key difference. The first 4 are very fragile. The career ball is made of rubber. You can take risks with that one. You can throw it higher and higher. You can try and reach the moon, reach those dream goals. Because if you drop it, it'll bounce. It might take some time to get it back as high as you had it before, but you can do that. If you don't look after the other 4, you can't work on that, but you can really take risks with the career ball. So I took risks with it. I threw it higher and higher. I worked hard, and then I dropped it. And I dropped it at the Olympic Games. Right before the Olympic Games in Athens, I got injured. And on the day of the race, even though I was the big favorite, I couldn't finish the marathon. And then I couldn't come back to be able to compete in the 10,000 meters either. And I was really scared. I was really scared that I'd damaged my health and that I wouldn't be able to run again. And I was really devastated that I'd lost my dream. So I had to go away and get strong again. And the way that I did that was by going back to running. Running when I wanted to, not a set training program, but just to rebuild, to heal, to enjoy it again. And gradually, I started to feel better. I learned a lot of things. I learned that bad things happen in life, and we just have to deal with it, get stronger through it, and move on. I learned that you can't please all of the people all of the time, but you can please yourself, and you can be strong and do what's right for you. And also learn that some things you can't control. You just have to learn what you can from them, deal with them, and then move on to the next target. So one day I came back from a run, and I said to my husband, okay, I want to go to New York. I want to run the New York Marathon. I had won the 5th Avenue Mile in New York, and I had won the 10,000 meters, the 10K in the park. And now I wanted to win the triple. I wanted to go and try and win the New York Marathon. It was 2 weeks before the race. So he said, you're crazy, but I'll try and get you in. He managed to get me into the race, and I went to New York. And New York became then, in 2004, my healing, my place that I went to feel better, to enjoy running again. Because I wasn't taking a risk, I was just getting back to competing. And I was healthy there, I was able to do it. Then again, in 2008, I was injured before the Olympic Games. And people said to me, I had a stress fracture in my femur, I wouldn't be able to go to the Games. I certainly wouldn't be able to take part in the marathon. 15 days before the race, I was able to start running again outside. Before that, it was cross-training. But I went to Beijing, and I was able to finish the marathon. It wasn't good. It was 20-something. And it isn't a great performance, but for me, it was a victory because it meant I was able to get to the starting line and to finish the race. And I think after what had happened in Athens 4 years before, that made it even more important. So for me, the London Olympics in 2012 became something that was really important to me. The chance to compete in a home Olympics in my home country. And I knew I was approaching the end of my career. I was kind of on borrowed time, but I wanted to have one more go to try and compete there. And 3 weeks before the Olympics, my foot broke down. So I wasn't able to compete there either. And it became a journey back from that. This photo is after the foot surgery in August 2012. And the surgeon said to me, we have 2 options. We can fuse the bones, stick the bones together in your foot, and then you won't have pain anymore, but you won't be able to run. Or we can try something, and it will be uncomfortable, but it's a chance to work back to being able to run. So for me, it wasn't a choice. When something that you love is taken away from you, you appreciate it so much more. And it wasn't a choice that I was prepared to make then, to say goodbye to my running. I wanted to take the risk and to try and work back. And nobody really knew. It was a little bit just taking it day by day. You couldn't make a plan. I had to just work with my foot and work with the physiotherapists, and a long, long journey. But somewhere in the middle of that, probably about 2 years into that, it was 9 months before I could run at all on it. But somewhere in the middle of that, I started to dream once more about being able to take part in the London Marathon so that I could retire from running on my terms and not on anybody else's, not dictated by my body. So I started to work towards that, and after a few months, I actually got brave enough to ask the organizers for the place and to start telling people that this was a goal that I was working towards. And when I lined up in 2015 for my last marathon in London, it was very different to my first marathon on the elite start. This time I was with all of the mass runners on the main start, and I got to see the really magical side of it, the camaraderie, how special it is to share that with everyone else. And everybody helped each other around. And yes, I wasn't as fit as I could have been. My foot might have been hurting a little bit in the middle of it, but I never wanted it to end because it was magic. And that whole spirit of marathoning, spirit of sports people coming together, and spirit of humans helping each other around something was something that I was afraid I was going to lose by stepping back from competition. But in actual fact, you don't. You find it in other areas. You find other directions and other goals that you're going to work towards and invest yourselves in. And the good thing about running is I don't actually have to stop. I can still run every day. It's just not as competition and not as structured training. So finally, I want to talk again about those 5 balls, because the health is really, really important. We can all do amazing things, but only if we look after our bodies. We have to fuel them well, we have to support them, we have to give them enough rest, and we have to really stay strong and look after our health, because that enables us to be resilient, to bounce back from the setbacks, and to achieve everything that we want to achieve. Our family and friends, our team around us are really important. Be there for them. Be there to support them, and take the support from them when you need it, because they are the people that will help us and be there, even if they're not out on the field of play with us. It's them that are with us all the time, giving us the strength, the courage, and the support in the hard times, in the preparation times. And the integrity. Integrity is the most important thing we have. Be true to what you believe in. Respect the rules of play, respect the other people, and respect yourselves. Be strong, because when you are strong inside, it makes you a much stronger person on the outside as well. Life isn't always fair, and bad things will happen, but you will get through those much better if you are true to the person that you are inside and you stay strong. And take risks, take real risks with that career ball. It's fun. You're going after something to see what you can do. You can't really fail, you can only get stronger. But if you don't try, and you don't reach, you don't stretch yourselves, you will never know what you could be capable of. And finally, one really important thing, have fun doing that. Don't set limits, go after your dreams, push the boundaries to see what you can achieve, but laugh a lot, enjoy it, and try and pass that on to as many people around you as you can. So good luck. There will be setbacks in that journey, and it won't be a straight path. But I know you can all do it. So have a think about where you want to go and what you want to achieve and the people that you want to be. Thank you.
Paula Radcliffe. Great success there, girls. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was very inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story and your failures also and your success. And the analogy of the balls is great.
Yeah.
I put them down on in my agenda. We still have a few minutes. So could you tell us how you started running? You said that your dad was running the marathon. Is that like a family thing you have?
Yeah, my dad ran. So when I was a child, my dad actually ran at school. And then he gave up, and he just, I guess he started smoking, and when he met my mum said that she wasn't going to have children unless he gave up smoking. So when he gave up smoking, he started eating instead, and he put on a lot of weight. So then he started running again, and he discovered running. So I never knew him in any of those phases. I only ever knew him going out running. So I guess I would have been about 5 or 6. Yeah, he would be training for marathons, and we lived by the side of a big forest, and so we would take a small drink and a snack to him on his long run, and I would join in for maybe 800 meters, 1,000 meters at the time.
Step by step.
And I loved the feeling of running, how it made me feel alive. I love running through trees still now, or by the ocean, or with amazing views. And I think now it gives me a huge perspective and makes me feel alive. And I think then I just recognized that it made me feel good. And so I wanted to do it. So my dad took me to the local athletics club. And I was really lucky. I made some excellent friends there. As Valentina said, I think it's when we share something with other people, then we're similar people, so we get on really well. And that camaraderie that you experience in sport is hard to find in other areas of life.
And running is not that easy because of the weather conditions. I mean, you want to run outside, and then having motivation from your friends like, okay, training, well, let's go. I guess, that's what you also need. It's an individual sport, but actually it's nice to do it, with other people.
Yeah, it's really nice to share it. And I think that's the thing that, for me, is really special about marathons, is that sharing with other people. I mean, there's no other sport where 55,000 people can stand on a start line and go through the same race, run the same distance, run the same course, experience largely the same emotions, the same ups and downs, and every single person gets to the finish line of that marathon a stronger and better person than they were when they started. And I think that's what brings it together. It's not just the journey on race day, it's the journey to get to the race, and it's like the journey through life.
I'm curious to know, who are the women that inspire you today? Sports and non-sports people. I mean, who do you look up to?
I think there are lots of people. I think, like I said, my grandma was someone that I really, really looked up to, and she was a really huge role model for me. I think I was very similar. I shared a birthday with her, and seeing what she achieved and how she did that really helped me. Ingrid Christensen was a huge role model for me. Grete Waitz of Norway as well. So Grete Waitz was a 5-time world cross-country champion, 9-time New York Marathon champion. She sadly died from cancer maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. But the dignity and the force with which she fought the cancer was the same as in the way that she lived her life, and I think that she was a hugely inspirational woman. Joan Benoit Samuelson as well. She was the first women's Olympic marathon champion in 1984, and she's still running now. She is 62, I think, and I hope that's right. She just ran a sub-3-hour marathon, and she's working towards another one. Every time she finishes, she's planning the next target, and she's working towards that. But she's just passionate about running, and she's passionate about sharing it, about inspiring as many people to run as possible.
We understood that you're a woman of projects and goals. Like your professional career you put an end to it in 2015. What are your next goals then?
I think I have a lot. I don't know if I have a specific one direction at the moment. I think to be a good mom is one of the most important things. I think it's the important role in my that I have right now. As I have 2 children. My daughter is 12 and my son is 8. So it's encouraging them to find themselves, to find their passions, to find their goals, supporting them as much as possible. When your mom tells you it's good to do your homework, it really is. That's an ongoing battle that I have with them at the moment. And I'm also commentating on sports, because if I can't be out there on the field of play, I think the next best thing is to have the honor and the privilege of trying to portray that and convey it in words. And it's not easy. It's something that I had to learn. At the age of 40-something, suddenly start learning something new. But it's a nice team again that I'm working with, and they help me to learn things. I'm trying to get as many kids active as I can. That's one thing that I'm really passionate about at the moment. So trying to get people just out there being physically active and understanding what that makes them as a person and what that can help in their journey through life.
That's what you did for us today, this morning. Thank you very much, Paula.
Thank you.
It was lovely to hear from you. It's now time for our last and fourth speaker. She has won 3 world championships of karate, 2 in individual and 1 in teams. In 2006, the last year of her curriculum and international career, she won all the major competitions: Paris Open, French Championships, European Championships, and World Championships. Since 2014, she has been working with the Panzi Foundation in the Democratic Republic of Congo to help women who have been victims of sex crimes and violence to practice karate on a permanent basis. In March 2017, she founded Fight for Dignity and set up a sports and social program specifically adapted to women victims and violence. The aim is to duplicate the current model of collaboration with the Maison d'Orca of the Panzi Foundation. C'est pas fini. It's not the end. She's here today to tell us how sport can be a wonderful tool in order to help people to rebuild trust and confidence into themselves. Please help me to welcome on stage Laurence Fischer.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so impressed, you know, because those role models here who talk, Valentina, Paula, Brigitta, amazing women, isn't it? For me also, I thought, and to be with you also, I feel lucky. It's a privilege to be here and to share with you my experience. It's important also. So, and of course, so many things have ever been said. My English. But I will start by now. So, I'm 45 years old. I have 2 children, and have a long 15 years of career of karate behind me. And now, I'm an entrepreneur, a leader. And I really believe in our strength, women, ladies, and how we can change things by being ourselves. So it's a dad's story also for me. My dad was fond of karate, and he said when I was 6 years old, come practice with me. So I went to the dojo, and it was so violent. I said, no, it's not for me. And after I practiced athleticism, folkloric dance, because I'm from Marseille, south of France, and I was dancing with a beautiful special suit. And at 12 years old, he said, oh, come back again. And I said, okay, Dad, I love you. I come back. Because I really didn't want to practice. And it started, a love story start here. A deep love story. We talk about love also a lot. And it was one. I didn't choose my lover. I didn't choose karate. But I'm really grateful now because of our meeting. And on tatami in dojo, I met a young lady, very shy, non-confident, who have a lot of bad idea of her body. I met someone who also was afraid of the regard, the way we look at her. I found someone who didn't know how to express herself, who didn't know how to manage her feelings, her emotions. This is the one I met on tatami. It was me. And I was lucky, really lucky. And I thank my dad to meet this young woman and to to define who I was at that time. Because in the same time, I feel the flame, as Valentina said. I feel the strength in me. I feel so powerful, but I didn't know how to express this in me. It was terrible. And this is the power of sport, because I was a team around me, not only my dad, but just like people, ladies who are with you today and for this extreme, exceptional event. Your coach here, your mentor who are here with you. I was lucky to have kind people around me, encourage me, support me in my practice. Not only to perform, but to be simply me. And so they encouraged me. I have a lot of potential, and I practice, and I didn't have yet pleasure in the practice. I work hard because I was non-confident, and I thought it's a good way also to balance my non-confident personality. And I won competition, first the regional one, national one. I was selected in the selection in the French team, and I was a little bit of proud, started to come and say, me? Are you sure? My dad said, you will be world champion. No, 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 not possible. This is the young lady I was when I started karate. And also, I have a strange feeling, a paradox to say, I hate this discipline. Why? I don't, it's not me. I'm the kindest girl in the world, and I'm here and I have to give punch and give kicks. Wow. So, but in another way, it was a really great way for me to express myself without speaking. I didn't have to speak. Just by moving my body, just by exchanging, I was in a tribute. I was with people who say, oh yeah, we spend good time and we understand each other. It was really great. And I won competition, French championship. I told you French championships, not European, but first of all, world championships. And it was like when you are a graduate, you know, when you pass an exam and I feel like, okay, done. I'm world champion. It was in 1998. And I was sure that by working hard, it works. But I was always stressed. I was not always self-confident, always not. I have always this problem to express myself, to go to the other, to say, I would say, no, it's not really interesting what I have to say. I was not arriving to talk about me, to talk to the other. So I said, why do I practice karate finally? I go everywhere, in Japan, in South Africa, in Brazil, in a lot of countries in Europe. Why? Just to give kicks and punches? I said, and I have this stress inside and it doesn't go. So I said, I was lucky, of course. I meet incredible people. It's always this, because I want to understand why I feel that. And I changed my point of view. I changed the way for me what competition mean for me. It was much more the sense. If it's only competing, if it's only medals, I said, but it's not. It's few. It's nothing. When I come on tatami and I have someone in front of me, I just give kicks and punches for winning, it's more than that for me. When I understand that, it's just like a prolongement. It's a continuity of what I am. It's not only my tsuki. It's not only my fist or my feet. It's me. It's completely me. When you when you run, it's me who decided to give this. So it's just me here. So because of this, I changed the sense of my practice. It changed completely all the years I continue my career. This is why also I win a lot, because I didn't do this for winning. I do this to meet the one in front of me, because it's exceptional, just like this morning. It's exceptional. I decided to meet her, to have a connection with the other, but it will never come back again. And I prepare a lot for this moment. So what do I do of this moment? I want to live it plainly, with all of my conscience. So I became a researcher. I became a researcher. And I became, first of all, about me inside. What is my reaction? Why am I always crying when it's hard? Why is it so hard for me to... Why am I always say I apologize when I give a kick? Why I don't arrive to go and express myself sometimes? So all of those questions, why do I lost? What I'm going to do of this defeat? This is, I said, okay, be kind with you, and find another way to understand what's happened. Be positive with you. Try to understand who you are. This is when I started to think like that, a world was open for me. I dared to go to meet the other. My opponent was not anymore an opponent. She was a partner. And I consider everyone I met, because, you know, a fight, it's 3 minutes. A career, it's 15 years. A life, we are going to die. On tatami, one of us symbolically die. What am I going to do of that? Karate learned me that. And it's dangerous. And I take risks. And I have a team, a great team with a lot of respect. We work together. And I'm always grateful of our relation, of our partners. Because we are in the same boat, we have the same passion, we love the same discipline, and it's precious. It's precious. We talk about the friendship. We have when I started when I was young, they're always my friends. Of course, they are living everywhere, but we live something very strong. I hope just like you yesterday, when you run together, it's strong. We live the same thing at the same time. We decided to live this. This is how karate changed me, the way I practice and why I do this. And in the same time, I have a lot of experiences like, I became a woman. I didn't know that I was a woman. I was karateka, I was passion, I train with men and women. But we said, oh, she's practicing, she's a fighter. Is she a woman or a man? What? You don't realize that when you feel it, when you live it from the inside. No question about my gender. I'm just someone who practices a discipline that I love. I was confronted about my gender, about inequity in unfair situation because judgment also about why I practice karate and less female categories of it's a lot of why. I said, okay, I realized that there were inequity. Okay. I travel also. I met a lot of young children with different NGO, and I met boys, girls in Burundi, in Haiti. 5 months after the earthquake, I realized also karate allowed me to meet different culture, different people, different countries, to meet children in conflict, post-conflict, in Afghanistan, Burundi, I told you, Haiti, in France. Sometimes there's difficulties in some poor part of, I can't say poor, but difficult places also. And I note also differences because of the climate, because of the conflict, post-conflict, because of poverty. And I said, I became an activist of education through sport. Because what sport brings me, and I'm a privileged woman, because I receive a lot of love in a balanced family, a modest family, but I receive a lot. And as you say also, Valentina, I receive a lot. I give me moyens to live my life, but I can see the difference. And I was also always athletes, and I spent time with those children, and the work. I saw also the work of the different NGO. I work for example, for Play International, who have a great program for the children, and I was learning about the way they take the sport and how they use it for not only for of course to smile, to play, to exchange, but it was more than that for them. It's a way to cut what's happening in their life and spend a moment together and to feel that you exist. And this is it was very, very strong when I went in Afghanistan in 2005. I was injured during 2 months after the European Championships. I knew that I will finish my career in 2006. I decided because in the same time I was doing my studies in a business school, French business school, and it was also a challenge. I mean, when the thing that the sport brings me, and it was ever said, it's to think that everything is possible. We told me, you have to do a choice, your studies or your sport. I choose sport, I stopped studies. But I have the sportive complex. I thought, no, I can do only sport. I knew only sport, I can't do anything else. And I challenged me because of my spirit, because of what I told you. Because sport was not only performance and not competition. I said, okay, if I can do this in sport, I can do this also for my studies. I did one of the best business school in France, and j'ai réussi. So I succeed. Thank you, all my English. I succeeded the exam. I went in Paris, and during 3 years, I work because I have no money, non-professional sport. I study in this ESSEC business school, and I practice karate in the same time. And at the end of my study, you see, everything is possible. Everything is possible. Just know yourself, and do action. and don't care about what we can say about you. Don't care about the judgment. Just do. I do the three things, and I succeed. And I knew that I was graduated in 2000. I will be graduated, and I said, okay, I will stop my career at the same time, winning or losing. But the last year, I met the Afghanistan young ladies. I understand what freedom means. I understand what it means. I understand when you run, like yesterday, how free you feel just to move and go forward. To me, I knew by control my techniques, do whatever I want on tatami. And my coaches and me, the only thing we can say to you, say, be yourself. Come, go, be yourself. We would just want you to be yourself when we say this to you, to tell you to be yourself. In sports, it's incredible just for that to say, we just ask you to be yourself. Are you sure? Yes. Incredible. I met those women, being themselves, not possible. Practicing karate, they did it, but the price, it's their life. They should die because they practice. It was an amazing meeting for me. The second amazing meeting for me, I have to be sure, I'm a little bit longer, sorry. It's an amazing man, an inspiring man. So those women inspiring me, and because I met them 1 month in Kabul, I spent 1 month in Kabul with them, I won everything after. In 2006, every competition I win. They were with me. I understand how much I was lucky. How much I was lucky. It was a privilege for me to practice in those conditions in France. And the second great meeting was with the Dr. Denis Mukwege. I saw him in a conference, just like us today. He explained what he did. He's a gynecologist. He was Nobel Prize in last October. His country, the Congo, the rape is using as weapon of war. Weapon of war, rape. I didn't know that it exists when he explained. He's the man who gave life, who helped to give life. He became the man, an expert of the reparation here, because the ladies who have been raped, it was so violent that it was fistule they do on them. He explains that. His job was not only to give life, to help to give life, but to repair women because of the rape. And I was so touched, not only because I'm a woman, but I didn't know it was possible. I went in Congo, and I met the survivors. They are very young. They have between 12 and 18 years old. And they are the most vulnerable one. And the doctor he's amazing. He created a place, a holistic place for the most vulnerable to have in this place psychologists, medical, free school, a lot of experts to help them to be autonomous. And I came and I said, okay, I want to do it for a long time, to help them and to make an adapted and accessible program, karate and football program. We are in 2014. And it works. The aim was for them to rebuild themselves by the reappropriation of the body, to feel that we have a body, to know that we have a body. This is the first thing I learned when I was athlete. And I was to know how much we are strong because of this body, and to connect it with the mental. Why? Like this, they found again self-esteem. They found again, they can say, I exist, because they can't say that. And it works. I have a teacher. I train a teacher, Frank, and And 2 years after my first training with Frank and the survivors, 2 years after, 3 of them, they are 20, told me, I want to return in my village. I want to go in my town, in Bukavu, Goma, and I want to teach. I want to teach my sister, I want to teach my mother, I want to teach my neighborhood. And I said, okay, because of that, they found again hope. They found again, they empty themselves. They believe, it helps them to believe in themselves and their capacity. So I found Fight for Dignity. I found this structure to bring sport to much more women victims of violence. Because today, the sport can be so supportive, can be so strong for them. And the thing is that, I note when I was there, nothing is really used by the body. Nothing is really I'm sorry, my English. Yeah, le mal est arrivé par le corps. The suffering started with the body. What do we do now for this body that they don't accept it because it's the beginning of the suffering. What do they do? What do we do today? How sport that we love, that we practice, that we know how much it gives us strength, is it accessible to those vulnerable women? Is it adapted? This is all my fight today, to bring sport to those women, because it works, because they feel better, because they can also be the role model for all of us women. It helps them to speak. It helps them to find again dignity. This is my fight. We started in Congo with the Dr. Mukwege and his team, and it's a fight that I do with a team together, with the professional of health, with other art therapists, musical therapy. We do it together with only one goal: help women in their resilience work and to feel better. And it works, ladies, it works. And because it works, we launch a research action to measure the impact of the practice, and for me, to have other role model, to teach teachers as Frank, but female teachers. Here now in France, and I hope in much more countries, because sport must be, it's an emergency, sport must be also a way for women to rebuild themselves when they have violences. And we, athletes, can be also, and you, the one who said, yes, I know that you feel humiliation, you lost self-esteem, you have the consequences of the trauma of the violence are terrible. But if everyone know and are not afraid of the consequences, and we say that we understand those women, it will be for them, and they will be so grateful and so helpful for our society. This is my message today. It's not the most perfect way I can share with you, but see how I started by being a very shy young woman, and now I'm a leader and I have a goal, and not the most simple one. But and if you ask me about role model, those women are my role model. They are so strong. They are heroines. And this is my new fight, and I thank you to share with you this fight, and I hope tomorrow we will be all involved and to recognize the vulnerability of those women, and to be just by knowing by what's happening to them, help more women. Thank you. Thank you.
Round of applause for Laurence Fischer, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was deep. It was strong.
Yeah, it's not
But
easy.
we needed this. We also needed it, this morning with all the other positive vibes and stuff. We also need to know that we're all, and you all in this room, very lucky to be where you are and to practice sports freely.
Yes.
Freedom. Exactly.
Yes.
That is your message also.
Absolutely.
It was really detailed, and unfortunately we're running a bit late, but if you had one advice to give those girls, would it be to meet themselves, if we understand correctly?
Yes, absolutely. Open your mind, open your heart. You have all inside of you. All is here. Just let it go. Just let it go. Just share what you feel, your feelings, share with the other, and everything is here. Everything is inside you. Trust and dare. And speak. Speak, really.
Thank you very much, Laurence. Thank you very much for your words. It's now time to conclude. We're going to go quite fast. So today was the third step of this big project she runs. It started on Tuesday. Well, it actually started on the 6th of March with 10 cities in Paris with 16,000 girls running in France. But it actually started in Paris 3 days ago with the treasure hunt, where you could actually do a bit of sightseeing in Paris. It was yesterday with the Lycéenne Maïf run, and it was also today with these 4 inspiring women talking to you this morning. And then we really hope that you enjoyed and that you got the message and that you'll open up, that you'll share, that you'll be stronger together, because women can lead the world. Really, girls, please, if you have one thing to remember, is women can lead the world. Okay?